the Biofriendly Podcast. It's the Biofriendly Podcast.
How are you doing?
Pretty good. Having a good day. We're starting a little later on our podcast than normal.
Yeah, I'm sweating.
You know, yeah. Well, that's because we just piled 700 pounds of coffee into
I
our...
caffeinated myself up a little too much. So the thing is we're going to record this podcast, and it's going to feel like we've been talking for a long time, and the end result will be a 5-minute long podcast because we'll be like, "Hey guys, so glad you're here."
I really feel like I'm talking at normal speed right now. This is very normal.
Yes. Yeah. Well, welcome to the Biofriendly Podcast. I am your co-host, Jacob Givens.
And I'm your other co-host, Noel Carroll.
Yeah, it's been a good day.
It has.
And I'm excited to talk about this because, Noel, we have a reason to celebrate.
What?
Los Angeles. Los Angeles.
What have we done this time?
We've done some cool stuff. So a couple months ago, Mike Bloomberg.
I've heard of him.
You've heard of him before.
I live in Los Angeles.
He was a mayor of New York for many years. He's one of the billionaires of the United States.
Yeah. Well, how come he's not?
He's
He's not my mayor.
No, he's not. But this is what I'm going to go on to tell you. Mike Bloomberg names Los Angeles, Portland, San Diego, and San Jose as winners in Bloomberg American Cities Climate Challenge.
Wow.
Yeah. So I didn't even know about what this is. But I'm about to share with you this whole thing that's been put together. So the Bloomberg American Cities Climate Challenge is a $70 million program that will accelerate 20 cities' efforts to tackle climate change.
What?
Isn't that awesome?
That's great.
So we are one of them that won this bid.
So we're going to get cold hard cash?
Cold hard cash.
To go towards the green?
Greens for green, baby. So yeah, this is... So this is through the Climate Challenge, which is part of Bloomberg's American Cities Initiative, and that's a suite of more than $200 million in investments to strengthen city halls and advance critical policies.
Nice.
But this specific one is basically 20 cities in total will be named. And I thought it was pretty wild, too, that it wasn't just Los Angeles. It was Los Angeles, San Diego, and San Jose. There were 3 in California that won.
Wow.
The other one was Portland. And these 4 cities joined the other 2 that have won thus far, which is Seattle and Atlanta.
Okay, so you're telling me that the West Coast is winning this mother 5-1?
I'm going to go out there and say Atlanta is the only one on the East Coast that won a bid so far. So there's 6 that have been chosen, and there's going to be 20 total in the process. They're going to get this 2-year investment on helping build up the programs to help reduce climate problems.
Thinking what we should do is throw our hat into all the rest of because I'm really a homer for sports teams.
Yeah.
So I feel like we should start supporting more West Coast bids.
Oh, totally.
To try to get 19 of 20.
Oh, that's a great idea. Let's just road trip up and down the coast.
Let's do it
with signs and go California, go.
Yeah, come on Sacramento, step it up.
Yeah,
let's get a bid.
Yeah, let's do it. We won't rest until our state is the only one.
The only state, and anything on the West Coast. In fact, we'll go as far as to Vancouver and say, I know you're not even in the United States and you don't qualify, but win.
But that's as far as we'll go.
Well, we're not going any deeper.
Not any
crazy?
Deeper.
It's cold up there.
No, it's cold. I'm not going any further than that. It's very far.
Are you crazy?
So it was very exciting. A quote from Michael R. Bloomberg. I have to include his middle initial here.
Otherwise, we confuse him with Michael Q. Bloomberg.
Yes.
Who's a totally different guy.
Totally different guy. And everybody knows Michael Rutabaga Bloomberg. Right. The response to our climate change... The response to our climate challenge was overwhelming. Cities all across the country put forward thoughtful and innovative proposals, selecting ones with the most ambitious goals and the most realistic plans for reaching them was not easy, but Los Angeles, San Diego, San Jose, and Portland all stood out. So we're glad to include them in our group of winners. So this is really, really cool for us, and it just means a lot of great things are going to be coming. So let me tell you...
ambition was important, huh? You had to come up with some you had to go deep.
Yeah, you had to come up.
Difficult things to do.
You had to be innovative, but you also had to be keeping in mind the cost. Was it possible? So I believe it was probably Kentucky. They said this will only cost $800 trillion, and that idea was shot way down.
I mean, look,
early out of the gate, it was
such a good idea.
It was awesome.
They were going to build a stairway. To Mars. and the idea was if there's a stairway to Mars, that we could walk all of our pollution up to Mars where it's all dead anyway and just dump it.
Yeah.
Brilliant from some perspectives.
That is brilliant.
But from other perspectives, it's like, hey, that's $800 trillion for a staircase.
That goes up to Mars. That's amazing. That's not just a stairway to heaven.
No.
That's a stairway to Mars.
I wonder how much farther they'd have to build that stairway to get to heaven.
Very, just a little bit past.
Do you think that's an extra 800 trillion?
It's an extra 800 trillion, but then you're there.
Yeah.
Then you've made it.
I mean, but no, and then is that an upsetting situation for, like, if anybody can just walk to heaven up the stairway?
Yeah. That's problematic for the whole
right? Like, aren't you trying to
thing,
keep people's, like,
right?
they're trying to make people be better people, otherwise they can't get there. Like, if there's a stairway to get there,
yeah,
you kind of ruin the whole point.
You live your whole life.
Yeah.
You're like, look, I can do what I got. Look, all I got to be able to do is walk up those stairs.
Paulie's just like, I shot like 7 people today.
You know what?
But that's a stairway.
That's a stairway, and I'm good at taking stairs.
So let's do this.
Let's do it. We
digress.
We never do that. So Los Angeles plans to accelerate several of the city's primary climate goals around emissions reduction and energy consumption, primarily through investments in sustainable transportation options, which makes me go,
we need it.
We need that so bad. If you live here in Los Angeles or Southern California in general, you know that transportation is a huge problem.
Right.
Like if you're in New York or other cities,
Chicago's got great stuff.
They've got the trains, they've got the metros, they've got things sorted out to where you could get around without a car.
Oh man, when I visited DC, we were out in Maryland visiting family, and you could just hop on the train.
I know.
They take you right to the center of everything, man.
I know.
And then you're in DC, and there's stuff all over the place.
Same with Chicago. When I lived there, you could get around town, you could take different trains, you can visit, it's amazing. And here, this is the city of you got to own a car.
Yeah.
We have trains,
right,
but they're very specific. They go like from one spot to the next, and you're like, on the rare occasion that I need to get from that point to here, and they're helpful for those instances.
I mean, it's good, like, to travel along a freeway distance to get from one city to the next city, you might have a train that could do it.
Right.
But the problem is each one of these cities is, like, to try to describe what it's like in this area, it is so spread out. Mm-hmm. Every single one of these small cities has the landmass of large cities in other places. They just don't have as many people. So if you're going to Pasadena, Pasadena's huge.
Yeah.
You can get to a train there, but once you're there, you're hosed.
Yeah.
So I mean, we need something a little bit better.
Yeah.
Here and probably everywhere. I imagine in Kentucky, where they're probably regretting the stairway to heaven index.
Stairway to Mars, stairway to heaven.
We
should have gone for some trains.
Some trains.
Well, in the meantime, though, while we're trying to sort this out, there are these things called podcasts that you can listen to while you're sitting in your car for a long time. So that's why we're here. So just a cheap plug for this show, the Biofriendly podcast, that is going to help you get through that long commute, LA.
The green way to get to work.
That's right. Everybody knows when you're a single person in a car on the freeway, you're doing your part.
They are. I feel like it's you get bonus points for listening to the Biofriendly podcast.
I'm glad you said bonus.
Yeah.
So specifically, the city will work with Bloomberg Philanthropies. Did I say that right? No,
Philanthropies.
I dropped the H. Bloomberg Philanthropies.
Philanthropies.
Yes.
Okay.
And
so it's not philanthropies.
No, not philanthropies.
Okay.
And partners to support. This is something I didn't know about either. To support the 28 by 28 initiative. Do you know about this?
I have nothing to know about. I'm so lost.
I didn't either.
28 by 28.
Okay, so what do you think they're referring to when they're saying 28 by 28?
There's 28 days in February.
Okay, getting close.
There's 28
warmer.
people in my bathtub.
Yes. You are there.
You put that together.
You have
and you get
the 28 by 28. No, the 28. So one is referring to the year 2028. What happens in Los Angeles in 2028?
It explodes.
No. No. We said that's 2029, not 2028.
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
so
right.
2028, the Olympics is here.
Oh, the Olympics.
Yes, the Olympics is the Olympics.
Olympics.
It's
going to be the greatest Olympics I've ever been to.
I hope that's the whole. I hope the ad campaign for that in 2028 is just it's the Olympics.
It's people with just vocal fry, just
a bunch of apathetic people on their phones. I guess I'll go check out the Olympics.
I was thinking I just watch people die.
The Olympics.
Olympics.
So 28 by 28. So that is transit initiatives. So they're going to complete. We got approved here in LA through this. 28 of them. So that means by 2028.
28.
Yes.
So by 2028, we'll have 28 more transit
that have been solved. So new paths that have been built, things that have been fixed up, problems, whatever. They're going to address 28 out of a very long list of initiatives by 2028.
We cheat. Cool? We cheat every time. How unfair is it to be from LA? No, it is.
It's true.
Because now to be honest, right? Like if you're in Phoenix, right? So you didn't get the Olympics.
Right.
Because you're not a coastal city that's close to a whole bunch of other countries on the, in the South Pacific and in the Pacific and China and everywhere else that could just come here so easily. And what a convenient place. And they've hosted things before. And it's so easy for us to get an Olympics.
Yeah.
Pretty much every time we bid, we're probably going to win the Olympics.
Yeah.
They have to say, LA, don't bid this time.
Because
you're going to get the stupid Olympics. And we got to give Atlanta a shot.
Yeah.
Right? So all right, we do this, we get the Olympics, and then because we have the Olympics, and we already have built into that a huge amount of commerce coming, so we're going to be investing in the city anyway. We're going to be getting all this stuff anyway. But what do? Like the D-heads we are, we say, hey, Doofus heads. Yep. Say, hey, Bloomberg.
Yeah.
Why don't you pay for this so we can make even more money on the
Bloomberg.
Olympics? Hey, Mr. R Bloomberg.
Hey, we don't need a stairway to Mars. We just need the Olympics.
We just need a couple 28, options for traveling to the Olympic places.
That's right.
No, but you know what I mean? It's like it's such an unfair advantage out here. I feel like we are getting all this free stuff.
It's true. That's why it costs everything to live here.
That's it. I feel like
that's the one thing is they're trying to chase everybody out because you're like, look, you can live here, but you're not going to be able to live here.
You're not going to be able to live here.
Like it's impossible to afford to live in this city, and places like New York and San Francisco.
Same thing. If they had the Olympics this time, they would have had that unfair advantage.
Exactly.
Because they again. Every time any of these cities bids for the Olympics, they get it because everybody wants to go to New York. Everybody wants it's just easier.
And I love you, Phoenix. I've been to you many times.
No,
I think it's a great city. I think it's a great city.
Yeah.
It's just you're not going to get the Olympics.
No.
So if you're holding on for that, Phoenix, let it go.
Let it go.
Focus on other dreams and ambitions. Okay?
Yeah. Although they are crushing it on spring training for baseball.
Are they really?
Oh man, all throughout it. Well. Arizona anyway. Phoenix has some spots. Scottsdale. There's some good spring training spots throughout Arizona, even close to Phoenix.
You're the only one on this podcast that would know any of that information. Just so that everybody knows and is clear. Noel is very well versed in sports and athletics and knows them. And Jacob knows nothing. Zero. Zip zilch.
Yeah, but
my sport emissions are none.
Yes. But if we were to talk about some sweet new shows coming out on Broadway, you'd have it all.
Not just Broadway, but pop culture, shows.
Yes.
Yeah. And the one we would come together on is bands, I think.
Yeah,
I think
for sure.
we could talk about music forever.
Man, we should change it. You know what? Forget green.
All right.
Forget the environment.
How do we spin the Biofriendly podcast? Look, our name is already out there. We gotta stick with this so the Biofriendly just becomes like the name of our band.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen,
it's the Biofriendly podcast on the wheatgrass blender. Jacob Gibbons.
That's amazing.
On the plant-based drum set, Noel Carroll. That's amazing. So that's something we always can have on the back burner in case this doesn't work out.
If this fails,
we'll jump into the Biofriendly band.
Music. Yeah,
awesome.
Yeah. So LA gets more stuff.
It's exciting for us. It's exciting for Portland.
Yeah.
Those other two cities in California, Atlanta and Seattle. And there's still, like I said,
San Jose and San Diego, I think. Those other two are irrelevant.
Yeah, whatever. I don't know.
Those other two cities.
I only think about ours. So there are still 14 spots left that are going to be part of this initiative from Bloomberg.
How are they going to decide? Is it going to be like a death match?
I think, yes.
Put all the cities into a cage.
Toledo versus Tulsa. To the death.
Two men enter, one man leaves. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. So, no, it's going to be, I'm sure everybody's submitted proposals.
Yeah.
And so there's some guy sitting in an office somewhere who's got
just like, how do I beat Olympics?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right.
Scratching his head. Yeah. Like, Kentucky's got a stairway to Mars.
There's a guy with $70 million in a briefcase, and he's got to go through every city's submission and basically go, This is like they reference this like in Parks and Recreation, the TV show.
Yeah.
There's a perfect example. This is like when Leslie Knope submits like a packet to up the government totem pole to be like, I want to fix this thing, and this is my proposal, and it just sits in a pile.
She shows up to Washington to talk about it. They're like, we're not going to talk to you about
it. Exactly. But then it finally falls in the right hands. So this is the kind of thing where the article talks about the people that are getting chosen are the ones that fulfill the criteria.
Right.
Stairway to Mars, no go.
Doesn't work. Not practical yet.
28 transit initiatives by 28, then great.
We're on board. That's big time.
Exactly.
That's
I don't know what got them theirs or what got Portland's.
They're going to double the size of the Space Needle.
Yes. And then Portland probably would have done like something about, coffee.
Portland,
coffee.
Portland is providing
coffee.
more hacky sacks.
Yes.
For the people.
Yes. They're going to bring Lollapalooza back.
Yeah.
I think.
You know what it is? They're little power balls. They're little hacky sacks, and as you kick them, they create energy, and then that energy is used
That's amazing.
to power the city.
That's amazing.
So instead of just kicking hacky sacks for no reason in Birkenstocks, see how I'm just like this is so. It's because I watch too much Portlandia.
I know that's what I was going to say. It's like Portland is a beautiful city,
It's
and
gorgeous
I've
city.
only ever driven through it. But my only knowledge of Portland is through Portlandia.
Right.
That's really all I know.
Actually, my wife, one of her best friends, lives up there, and we've been up there. And it's actually really is legitimately
beautiful.
an amazing city.
But it is funny because they
making
get
silly jokes about
I'm sure they're used to it.
Birkenstocks, but
They're
it
used
is
to
a
it
great
now.
city. They're great people.
Yeah, they're used to it. They're used to the teasing by now for the dream of the '90s is alive
in Portland. Yeah,
in Portland.
But no, it's no surprise that they would come up with something innovative and ambitious.
Yeah,
because it's a green city, and they do care a lot about the environment and are very clever people. So
and Atlanta, which I went to Atlanta a lot when I was young, but apparently Atlanta is just. It is becoming a hub.
It is bumping.
It is bumping right now. First of all, this that I'm reading, and then if you watch, I watched Queer Eye on Netflix, and they did the whole season in Georgia.
Yeah.
And the first two, I think. And then I know tons of actors that have moved from Los Angeles to Atlanta.
And now they're working. Yeah.
So it's becoming kind of this epicenter that I didn't know was going on. But
There
it's
are
happening
so
right now.
many advantages to making films in Atlanta that just LA doesn't offer anymore because it doesn't need to. In LA, everyone's here anyway. They're making it's like they can take advantage of the tax money that you get from LA being in LA, but in Atlanta they want the business.
And they have good peaches. They have great
peaches and wonderful bells apparently.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Georgia bells.
Yeah.
My cousins all live in Georgia.
Do they?
Yes. And so when I was growing up, they had those really, y'all quit it. They had that
really?
super
Just
sweetheart
just
Southern
angelic.
belle.
That's awesome.
You couldn't get mad at them.
Yeah.
Because everything they said was so like, y'all stop, quit it.
Quit it. That's not kind.
That's not nice. My favorite story about my
Be
cousin.
gentle.
I'll make this quick. But I have to tell this. When I was in 7th or 8th grade, I got Nirvana's Nevermind on cassette.
Yeah.
And I opened it up at Christmas, and my cousin, Laura, she goes, I opened it up, and Kurt Cobain's giving the middle finger. Yeah. And she goes, why would he give you the finger if you... She was like, why would he give you the finger if you just bought his album?
It's just
I
thoughtless.
was so, it was so funny to me that it was like, she's right. You you just bought the record. He's giving you the middle finger.
Flicking you off.
But the innocent, sweet voice of that still has stuck with me to this day. Why would he give you the finger if you just bought his album?
You did a nice thing.
You're supporting his music.
His musical career, helping him to get to new places
Exactly.
and meet more people.
Exactly.
And he's flipping you the bird.
The bird, what in the devil is going on?
Thoughtless. Okay,
so
but that is outstanding.
I had to
and
share
that's
it.
right there is why Atlanta probably won the bid because they're so dang thoughtful.
They are.
You know,
They are.
and it takes a thoughtful person to come up with a really cool green concept.
Look, if you're pitching to a city and they come out with that sweet Southern Belle accent, you'd be like, I'm definitely going to give this city money.
I'm in. You are too sweet. You are too kind.
You should.
Yeah. I'm in. I'm actually in now. I'm like, okay, where do I send the check?
Are we moving? Are we moving?
Yes.
Did we just decide to move to
We
Atlanta?
did. This is all going to Atlanta.
Good. Okay, good. So I also, after that article, I found this article that says 4 creative ways cities are transitioning to the clean energy future. So this article is really about the ones that still have to win the bid.
Okay.
Like what they could do in order to win it. So I thought that would be
I
helpful.
would love to hear some ideas for that.
Right?
Yeah.
So this is a little bit more detail on the application. So obviously everybody's stepping up and committing to broad and inspirational action to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and decarbonize local energy systems. But the challenge behind this is you're working within a complex market, and the regulatory frameworks that vary from state to state. It can limit your options for purchasing renewable energy, right? Because there's red tape, obviously,
sure, of course,
right?
Yeah.
So they have this thing that was part of the Bloomberg Philanthropies. This is the Renewables Accelerator. Yeah. Which, by the way, when I read this, the Renewables Accelerator, I was like, if you split that in half, that is the best band and first album name ever. The Renewables with Accelerator.
With Accelerator.
So that's our band name.
Renewables.
The Renewables with Accelerator. So
that's amazing.
So on the American Cities Climate Challenge, which I just talked about, the 2-year program. That program was formed with Bloomberg Philanthropies, Rocky Mountain Institute,
Philanthropies.
I know, I can't do it. You take it from here on. I'll just say Bloomberg, and then you answer me with
Philanthropies.
Yeah, Bloomberg.
Philanthropies.
Wonderful. Rocky Mountain Institute and the Urban Sustainability Directors Network. So they formed it. And so here are some of the things, and I hope I can even understand what a lot of these things. The first thing says legislating new clean energy options. Okay. So your city needs to work on your legislature. Yeah, for clean energy options. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's how is the government making it easier for people to be green or encouraging people to be green? Like, what are the options that the government's putting in there to make things? Yeah, to inspire businesses and locals to do things that are more.
That's green. Exactly it. It says here, like an example it gives is in 2017. The city of Philadelphia released a municipal energy master plan laying out a roadmap to drastically reduce the city's carbon emissions and transition municipal energy to use to 100% renewables by 2030. So that's an example, right? So Philadelphia,
that's tremendous.
Coming out of the shadow,
coming out of the gate.
Here we go,
swinging hard, looking for that money from the Bloomberg.
That's right. Got to get that Bloomberg cash. Yeah. So next would be leveraging buying power across the country. Okay, so cities have more buying power when they band together.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, often cities will partner to negotiate a contract like a PPA.
Okay. I don't know what a PPA is.
I didn't know either. That is a power purchase agreement.
Oh, I do know what that is.
Okay. Yeah. So the city of Boston is bringing this approach to renewable energy purchasing to show project developers just how much demand there is for clean energy. So that's they get. So this is it. I'm going to throw it back to Parks and Recreation again. Yeah. This is Pawnee joining forces with Eagleton.
No, they would never. They would never.
But that's what you have to do in order to get that Bloomberg money. So I think they even addressed
Pawnee
this.
and Eagleton would have to work together.
They'd have to work together. And Eagleton, if they weren't such,
jerks.
They are jerks. They're snakes.
Yeah.
But that's the example of what Leslie Knope had to deal with. Yeah. Was she had to convince them oftentimes to come together because you stand stronger. Yeah. As cities to get this kind of support and money if you have people banding together and counties and cities working together. So that's a huge part of it. If you have, and I would imagine Los Angeles, San Jose, San Diego, there was some sort of
there
thread
was a tie-in
between those three.
I wonder if part of this this transportation thing includes something that connects those three cities.
It's possible. Yeah, because Garcetti, who was our mayor, part of this, he's still our mayor, isn't he? I think. I don't know, or is he not?
Yes, he is now.
Okay.
I think that
he got reelected.
Yes.
So he was part of this, and I'm sure that when they were choosing the cities and when they were pitching out the plans, he probably went to San Jose and San Diego and said,
he's like,
we can work. This will benefit you. If the Olympics is here in 2028, we're going to have tons of people flooding into the area. We need to have these transits all fixed up.
Let's team up, baby.
Yeah, let's make it work.
Yeah, good.
Yeah. So
actually, the power purchase agreement thing is interesting because sometimes as a city, like you'll have even a state, you'll have rules put in place that say we can only have renewable energy here, but then you can't fill the need for all the energy. Yeah. So then you'll buy sometimes dirty energy from a different state because you got to fill the energy need. Yeah. So if you have extra clean energy and you can change up who that purchase agreement is with and start sending your clean energy out to other people, then it makes those people cleaner. See, gives them more options to be more renewable.
Pawnee has to work with Eagleton.
This is the moral of the story.
The moral of the story is, and by the way, if you haven't watched Parks and Recreation, what's wrong with you?
Catch up.
Catch up. because this will all
You're
make...
not going to enjoy this podcast
It's
until
only
you've
for
watched
parts. Well, it's funny. It's funny because here's the thing. I'm a huge fan of the show, but now that I'm studying more about, I mean, she works in parks and recreation.
Right.
What we do,
This is totally-
we talk in this arena a lot about saving the environment and restoring natural lands and you know what I mean?
Well, and as part of understanding the
so
other...
it's important.
Yeah, well, and as part of understanding the other kind of perspective on how to approach these problems, you have to embrace your Ron Swanson sometimes.
Yeah, you do.
You do.
You've brought that. Yeah, you've brought that up before. It's
And that's,
important to embrace your inner Ron Swanson.
It's like you do have people who are like, I don't want the government in my garbage. Okay, so good. So how do we get to that person?
Yeah, exactly. So number 3 of the 4 tips next would be partnering with utilities. Okay, this is it's another teaming up action here. So for example, in 2016, Salt Lake City signed a clean energy cooperation statement with Rocky Mountain Power with a goal of having 100% community renewable electricity supply by 2032. So the city went into the utilities. So that'd be like me rolling down to Glendale Water and Power. Be like, let's make a deal. Okay? We're going to sign a little...
Here's the deal. I'm
work
Jacob.
together. I'm Jacob.
You're Glendale Water and Power.
Clearly on the same level.
You're going to give me, Jacob, clean energy.
Yep.
Or I'm not paying.
Exactly. They
cave.
They would listen.
They'll cave.
They would listen.
Because the kind of pressure you can bring...
Oh.
You're a co-host of an internationally recognized Biofriendly podcast.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I would go in there and I would just, grit my teeth.
Grit 'em.
Scowl. Give them a nice mean look and let them know it's my way or the highway to Mars.
Highway, the stairway.
Oh, sorry.
That's my way. Or the stairway.
I tried to do a callback to our earlier joke, but I totally blew
No,
it.
it worked. It worked. Just tiny adjustment. We'll edit that out. We'll fix that in post. So it sounds like you just...
Stairway. Dubbed stairway. I'm actually going to go back every time I mispronounce philanthropies.
Yeah,
Just add that.
Philanthropies.
Philanthropies. I'm going to just record like the dictionary reading of it and lay it over my voice, so it's perfect.
It'll be
like
flawless.
Bloomberg philanthropies.
It's going to be flawless. No one will ever know. I think that's a good call.
Exactly.
I think people will respect us a lot more.
I think so. Look, they already respect us a ton.
Yeah.
We're obviously professionals who know what we're doing.
Exactly. How
Yes.
could they respect us more? It's impossible.
It's impossible. And then the number 4 tip, and this is the end of this. This is once I list this off, you're on your own. Everybody else in the USA, okay, you gotta win that bid for that Bloomberg money on your own.
Yeah.
But this last one is delivering benefits to low income communities. That's an important thing.
Oh, that's cool.
So, for example, we were talking about Portland earlier. So here's a praise for them.
Nice.
The city of Portland and Multnomah County, Oregon, passed a resolution establishing a community-wide 100% renewable energy goal. Central to this effort is developing a community solar program that enables broad access to renewables for low-income communities.
Oh, that's
Exactly.
huge. Because when you're in a low-income community, power is more difficult to pay for because you don't have the cash.
Exactly.
So if you can get access to solar power, now you can pay for less energy, and that's just massively helpful.
That's super helpful. You're going to get that kind of thing is really going to unify your city. You know what I mean? Because if you're only worrying about getting the renewables, the solar, the wind only in the wealthy areas, only in the very heavily populated, everybody's got all the stuff, and you focus on them, and you completely forget about the rural or the difficult, urban communities, then you're not going to get that same widespread benefit across the entire economy, across the entire system.
Yeah.
So that's a huge part too. So I would imagine that, the cities that have been chosen, those first 6, there was a lot of efforts to make sure like, hey, we're not just talking about we're fixing up Burbank. We want to make sure we handle all of the neighborhoods in LA and all the way around. And that's what we're trying to, transit was a huge seller.
It is. That's it's a big deal, and it's a big issue in Los Angeles. So it makes sense.
People can get to jobs, easier. It helps our economy improve. It helps everything.
See, that's part of the problem. You see, like in Brazil, right?
Yeah.
They had the Olympics and the World Cup back to back.
Yeah.
And the thought was Olympics and World Cup. This is huge opportunities. You're gonna in a period of 2 years, you're gonna have the 2 largest sporting events on Earth.
Yeah.
Back to back.
Wow. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. So let's build infrastructure. Let's make this place better. Let's make it great. Let's spend all and unfortunately, what Brazil did was they overspent on stadiums.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And spent too much on really fancy stadiums that are. I mean, it's great now that many of the local clubs that didn't quite have. They couldn't justify that much stadium. Not that they couldn't enjoy the stadium, and I'm sure that people do love having the niceness there. But it was a big controversy at the time because there were a lot of people. I mean, it's thought that everybody in Brazil loves soccer, and they do. But there are people in Brazil who also like Star Wars. You know, like like there's people like they look at that and they go, why do we need to spend this many billions of dollars on these 3 stadiums in the same place and a stadium in Manaus in the middle of the Amazon that will never use it when we could have had roads, when we could have had, we could have had trains, we could have had easier access to work, we could have had cleaner beaches. We could they think of all things they could have had. That wasn't, and so it's nice to see. On the flip side of my Los Angeles joke earlier about it gets everything, to see that the city is organized enough to realize if we're going to invest in this, let's invest in renewable and green infrastructure. Right. Because that's something that will last the people longer than the Olympics. We take advantage of the event to make something that helps the city long term.
Yeah, exactly. Would you say they spent Brazilian dollars?
Well, yeah, at least.
I'm sorry.
I tried to hold a straight face.
I'm sorry.
I tried to answer that one with with a very responsive. Yeah, I believe it was $1.6 Brazilian.
I barely got it out. I barely got it out because I relish dumb puns like that.
They're the best.
I had to do it.
Yeah,
couldn't help myself.
That's another thing you have to live with. Parks and Rec.
Yep.
Dumb puns.
Yep.
That's a lot of that going to go on.
A lot of that's going to happen here on this podcast. But anyway, so that was basically the subject that we had to tackle today.
Okay. So just to follow up on this afterward.
Sure.
What if you, Jacob, were running Pawnee? And Pawnee was told, "Hey, we want our piece of the Bloomberg funds." What would be your go-to plan? What would you invest in? What would be the thing that you would want the most?
An escalator to heaven. No, I could, because it's more efficient.
I want to dig a hole all the way down to hell.
I don't know.
And build an elevator.
I don't know. That is a really, really good question. How would I get what would be the initiatives if I'm Leslie Knope? I mean,
so the thing that
I'm completely. I can make a joke. I can make a joke, but when it comes to actual policies,
what would we do?
I would be like, man, I really got to put my head together on that one. So
yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Well, all right. So
do you have anything?
There's a couple things that
he's ready to go.
Have come up recently. Like,
Noel's running for office.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am
bidding 2020.
Knowsley Knope.
Oh, all right. I love it.
Yeah. No. We spoke kind of recently about the recycling issues that are going on. Right. And how a lot of these smaller cities in particular, I mean, big cities too, but cities are having to incinerate garbage because there's no recycling options.
Yeah.
I feel like I would put some kind of program in for that, like for education on how to properly organize your
recycling,
your recyclings, and then like technology to
invest in
get,
innovation.
Yeah, to be like, okay, so we've got these 9 engineering companies in the area, and each of them has put in this bid for how they would create a better recycling system, and then you put that in together and you send that out and say we would like to fund one of these to help. Like that's kind of like I'll probably throw something like that in there to help.
Yeah, I do exactly the thing that you just said.
What I would do is
I would do what you did and copy it and take it to my city hall.
I love it.
This is a great idea.
I love it.
I came up with it all by myself.
This is what I want to do.
I definitely didn't copy this homework from my buddy.
No.
So
and I do like the micro power generation concept in the inner cities in Portland. Yeah. Where they're saying like for lower incomes, let's have like solar energy for each of these smaller places.
Definitely.
And there's a lot of cool different ways to do that now. I mean, there's hydro options, and there's obviously solar is very popular. There's wind options, but to invest in things like that, and more important, the storage. Like what's a greener way to store power than lithium-ion batteries? Yeah, because as amazing as lithium-ion batteries are, right? They're lithium.
Let's not break that puppy open.
Right. It's not. There's a negative downside to disposing of
batteries. No kidding.
Right. So I feel like that's. Yeah. I mean, but I'm always talking. Like I think innovation is
I think you're right.
so much more important than people are putting in. Because like there's a lot of solutions that exist, but I feel like we need to find like I would love to see a bid that kind of pushes more of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I think that's how we're gonna save, LA.
I think LA's fine. We're doing
sorry,
fine.
we won.
LA, we won.
Oh, sorry, okay,
We're doing fine. We need to worry
talking
about
Pawnee.
Yeah, we got to talk about Pawnee. We
Yeah.
got to fix Toledo. We got to
Toledo.
fix some other towns across the United States that need some help.
If I was in Kentucky,
Yeah.
I would probably put forth a green initiative for bourbon.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Right?
Totally. Really.
Like we're gonna
really.
like
Let's focus
people
on-
need bourbon.
Absolutely.
People need it. It's not like, and you can only make it in Kentucky. You can't
Yes.
make bourbon anywhere. Am I correct?
Yep.
I think that's correct, right?
Yes, bourbon
Yeah.
only comes from Kentucky.
Right.
It has to come from there.
So I feel like if you're from Kentucky and that's the only place on earth we can get it, that's what we need to really green up. Is how can I have greener bourbon? Because everybody needs their bourbon, and one day
They can't see, but I'm crying a little bit right now because it's so powerful. This message,
beautiful, right?
green. I need my
green
bourbon to
bourbon.
be green,
I need
sustainable bourbon.
Sustainable bourbon. That's the
love
not that the Stairway to Mars isn't a great idea. It is
But they should have focused on what they already had.
right.
Right.
Sorry, because that's just a little more plausible.
I agree.
I
agree.
Although I guess it did say ambitious. So you
Yeah.
can't be too mad at
Yeah,
Hank
yeah,
for
you can't.
coming up
for
with.
the- yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That's why the escalator is going to work. I'm going to repitch it.
Your
You guys are way off on the stairway.
Your problem wasn't the stairway.
It was how you get there.
Your problem was that the stairway requires you to walk.
Right.
Which is impossible. Do you know how many stairs it takes to get from
So
here
many.
to Mars?
You know those sweet conveyor belts that we stand on at the airport that take us like half the hangar down there. What do you call that
Yes.
section? Whatever. But you get on one of those and it takes you all the way up. That's how
a
it's gonna
magic carpet to Mars.
work. Sold.
Sold. They would have won the Bloomberg.
They would have
money.
won it. They would have
All
won
of
it.
Yeah.
Well, this has been awesome, dude.
Yeah.
So I'm Jacob,
And I'm Noel.
and
We're supposed to use our line.
Yeah, we're a beacon of light in a gloomy environment.
It's the Biofriendly Podcast. It's the Biofriendly Podcast.